Yo, what's going on? So I want to read you all a couple things. One's going to be an article, and then one's going to be a quick headline and a little bit of the statement that was made by the Pfizer CEO today. But before I do that, I want to talk about what Pfizer said back in March. All right. So remember, my goal in getting on here and speaking with you all is never to tell you what to think. It's never tell you how to think. It's only to just ask that we all think, because we have to be careful about what you are asking for, what you're promoting for, all in the name of safety, fueled by fear. Because once again, when certain people, structures, and systems get in a position or get liberties to your freedom or certain access to things, when that emergency or quote unquote pandemic or issue is over, they're not giving it back. All right, they're not giving it back whatsoever. So I'm going to read a article. This came out during March 17th of 2021. I'll put it up right next to me. This is from CBS News. So the title of the article is Pfizer execs discuss hiking vaccine price after pandemic wanes. All right. Now, I brought this up to you all in a live stream maybe like a month ago. So I'm going to go through it again, and I'm going to bring it back to today. A top executive for Pfizer suggested to investors last week that pricing for its COVID-19 vaccine could increase post-pandemic. All right, so they obviously are already talking about the vaccine being around even after the pandemic. Okay, yeah, I mean, if you want to be safe, right? According to them. The suggestion raises question about whether a drug developed at the behest of the federal government to respond to a global crisis could turn a profit for one company. The possibility was raised by Carter Lewis Gold, a senior analyst for Biopharm Equity Research, during a virtual global healthcare conference hosted by the bank. Gold, referencing comments made by Pfizer execs over the summer, asked how the pharmaceutical companies still envision pursuing higher pricing as we move from a pandemic to an endemic phase. Anybody know what an endemic is? Do you think about this? Pandemic, we all know what that is because that's what we're currently in. Endemic means that there is no end. It's always going to be around. So this is a conversation that was being held between investors as well as Pfizer themselves, talking about how we're going to make more money off of our vaccinations after the pandemic, but we go into the endemic phase, meaning that it's always going to be around. So for someone like me, and this is what I talked about last month when I brought this article up, you have me asking questions. Once again, it is extremely problematic when you are afraid to ask questions, especially when we're dealing with a pandemic that we have never seen before, right? Something like we've never been dealing with before. And to think that you're just going to progress by silencing everyone, problematic, because it's also a great way of hustling everyone as well. And so back then, they're already talking about that. So this is March. So that means this conversation was going on long before March as well. So let's get back to it. Clearly got a lot of focus on the street. And in particular, some of your comments around the potential for higher pricing. Gold said of Pfizer summer suggestion. I think one of the things that people point to is both the optics of that as well as some of their experience with the flu market. Now, this is absolutely different, but I was hoping you could, sorry, y'all, but I was hoping you could maybe give us a little bit more depth on your thoughts here around the potential of pursuing higher pricing down the road. And so pretty much they're asking, what's that pricing structure going to look like once we get into something similar to the flu, but it's not the flu. But once we get into a situation that's similar like the flu, where we're seeing this on a yearly basis, what are we looking at as far as pricing goes? So in response, the CFO and executive of VP Global Supply, VP of Global Supply for Pfizer, said that the company anticipates a significant opportunity for its vaccine from a pricing perspective as we move from a pandemic situation to an endemic situation. So they're already calculating, this is going to look good for us. So let me continue. So if you look at how current demand and current pricing is being driven, it's clearly not being driven by what I'll call normal market conditions, normal market forces. It's really been driven by kind of the pandemic state that we've been in and the needs of governments to really secure doses from the various vaccine suppliers. D'Amelio explained. So what I believe is that as we move from a pandemic state, from a pandemic situation to an endemic situation, normal market forces, normal market conditions will start to kick in. And factors like efficacy, booster ability, clinical utility will basically become very important. And as we view that as, quite frankly, a significant opportunity for our vaccine from a demand perspective, from a pricing perspective, given the clinical profile of our vaccine, he said. So clearly, more to come here, but we think as this shifts from a pandemic to an endemic, we think there's opportunity for us here. For me, I have a lot of questions. I always have a lot of questions. Been like this since I was a kid. You can ask my parents. A lot of questions, right? So one of the first questions that I have is, since this conversation, this article was published in March. The conversation might have happened earlier, but conversations similar to this one most definitely took place earlier than March of 2021. My question is, did they really believe, the manufacturers, did they really believe that the vaccine would actually cure this virus, eradicate this virus? Did they really believe that? Because when you listen to this, what they're saying, and you read the transcript, they obviously see it being around. That's why they called it an endemic. And so, but at the same time, it seems pretty clear that they did not believe that this was going to go away. They seem pretty set on this is going to be an endemic. They were pretty clear about it in their transcripts and in their writings. But what did we believe? What were we told? We were told, flatten the curve. We were told social distancing. We were told if we want to get back to normalcy, we need to wear a mask. Then when the vaccines became available, we were told, get the vaccines so we can get back to normal. Vaccines came out. Then we were told by Fauci, we need 60% for herd immunity. Then Fauci lied and said, all right, maybe not 60, probably 70. Then he lied, and then he said, not 70, 75. And then lied. And so where the hell is the goalpost at now as far as herd immunity? Nobody knows. Fauci said himself that, he's just using his gut. And that's why it smells the way it smells. And so here we have the people who made the vaccine that is now approved, right? And then there's some questions about, which vaccine is actually approved. Yes, we know you have a Pfizer vaccine approved, but the approved version of the Pfizer vaccine is called Comirnaty, whereas the one by BioNTech, the one that most people are actually taking right now, is still under EUA. Not more conversation right now, but the very people who have the approved vaccine, they don't even see this thing ending. However, we are thinking that it's going to end. And the reason why we think that, so if you're thinking that, it's not your fault. You didn't come up with that idea by yourself. You were told that if we want to get back to normal, we need to get everybody vaccinated. This is why we're making the mandates. This is why we're making your jobs vaccinate you. This is why we're making your schools vaccinate you. This is why we're telling you to talk to your doctors to vaccinate you. This is why we're saying you can't travel, because you need to get vaccinated. This is why all these things are happening, is because they are claiming that if we get to a certain percentage, this thing will go away. The folks who actually created the vaccine was like, that's not true. This thing's never going away. That's why we said endemic. So once again, these folks like to talk about misinformation and where it's coming from and how they have to stop misinformation. If you want to stop misinformation, then y'all need to just stop talking. Like, that'll be the best way to stop the misinformation, because you all are the biggest source of the misinformation. You can't tell us that we're trying to reach 60% and then kick that can and said no 70%, and then kick that can and then say no 80%. Like, this is all based on feelings. This is all based on his gut. That's what Fauci said. He said his gut. And so now we have the people from Pfizer saying that, nah, this thing is this is an endemic. So once again, that was an old article, right? That was from back in March. Now, the reason why I brought that up is because today Pfizer comes out and says, hold on, let me pull it up real quick. All right. So Pfizer CEO says people needing COVID-19 vaccine every year is the most likely scenario. So this means that next year they are expecting you to get the vaccine again. This is why I keep saying, in times like these, it's very much important for you to calm as much as possible your fear, your emotions, your anxieties. Is very important, because you may making commitments, making decisions that are irrational, that won't make sense, that you can't take back. So now that they have taken away certain rights and liberties, and they have now made certain things mandated, as far as, injecting things in your body or you're going to get fired, what's going to happen next year? Like, and you know what? Let me have a conversation with those of you who are vaccinated, because I think people who are vaccinated should probably have the biggest problem right now. Like, they should be the most upset right now, I would think. The vaccinated, the people who are not unvaccinated, like, it's pretty straightforward as far as, how you all feel and why you feel this way. It's pretty black and white. Like, they want you to take it, and you all are saying, nah, we're not taking it. My body, my choice. I don't want it. I'll do your little mask thing, but I need to see what happens. I need to see how this whole thing plays out. So as far as the unvaccinated, it's pretty black and white about why you're upset, right? What about those who are vaccinated? Like, you're feeling all kinds of things, right? Some of you were bullied to get it, and some of you were like, it was like the new iPhone. Like, you was waiting outside, lines wrapped around the building, all right? Anyways, you got it, you got your sticker, and you felt like you did your part because they told you you did your part. Then you believe that you would get it and things will kind of get back to normal for you. Not for those dirty unvaccinated people. They're weird. But you, now that you got the vaccine and the sticker to prove that you got it, and your little card with the little pocket protector, now you got those things, right? You are thinking that things are going to at least be normal for you. And you believe that because, once again, that's what they told you. They said, if you're vaccinated, you don't need a mask.
Tonight, the new face of the pandemic is now one without a mask. The CDC's ground-shifting change impacting the 117 million fully vaccinated Americans who will no longer need to physically distance or wear a mask, outdoors or indoors.
We have all longed for this moment.
The dramatic cultural shift, by far the biggest restriction rollback, and also a major incentive for the roughly 130 million in this country who qualify to be vaccinated but are not.
2 weeks after your last dose, you can shed your mask.
What? They need a mask? Oh, shit. They ain't gonna like this. Changing that, you're vaccinated, you gotta put your mask back on. One, that should be one reason why you're upset. You thought that you were gonna get the vaccine and you thought it was gonna be back to normal for you. They lied to you. You should be upset about that. Come on. Like, who wants to continue to wear a mask? Most people are doing it because, once again, they wanna do their part. You put on the mask, they're telling you that if you get the vaccine, you can take your mask off. All right, Let's go do it. You get the vaccine, you got your mask off for a day, CDC comes out, hey, you gotta put your mask back on. Why? Why? Well, you put your mask back on, and the reason that you have to put your mask back on is because they're saying that you can still get infected. All right, but I mean, what does that mean? Like, doesn't that stop me from spreading it? Or, because that's what you said as well. Matter of fact, why do I put my mask back on? You said if I put my mask back on, why do I need to put my mask back on if I got the vaccine? I'm supposed to be good. I'm supposed to not be able to get it. And in the rare chance if I get it, I should not be able to transmit it, right? That's what you folks said. That's the reason why you believe that, because they said that to you. You didn't make that up. I got your back. You didn't make that up. I was listening. I was watching.
Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real-world data.
Now, they're saying that our bad, you can still get infected. And matter of fact, when we do the nasal swab and we look at the viral load, it's the same as those who are not vaccinated. Okay, well, just because I can get infected doesn't mean I'm gonna spread it. Yeah, you can still spread it. All right, so I can still get it, I can still spread it. That's why I need to take it on. But that's it, right? Like, as far as being vaccinated versus unvaccinated, those are going to be the only changes on us, right? We just have to wear our mask. We can still get it, we can still spread it. Yeah, the other thing is that if you're exposed to it, you still gotta get tested and you still gotta quarantine. This is why you should be upset, because they've lied to you. They've lied to everybody. And then they're not even coming back and saying, yo, we made a mistake. Like, we made a mistake. They're just bulldozing right through it. Like, they're just plowing everything down. They're not coming back and saying we made a mistake, our bad. All they're saying is that we would be in a so much better position if people would stop spreading misinformation. Like, that's all they're doing. And while making it political. That's what they're doing. And the whole time, people's lives are being ruined. People are becoming depressed. People are killing themselves. The kids, don't even start on the kids. Obesity rate has skyrocketed for kids. Depression for kids has gone up. Suicide has gone up for kids. Like, you're ruining an entire generation of people. People aren't even to see their loved ones before they pass on. Just a whole lot going on. And these folks are talking about, yo, what kind of pricing structure are we looking at after this whole pandemic goes away and we accept and swallow the fact that this thing is going to be around. So, yeah, I mean, just think it's something that you all should think about. This is why it's so important for us to, once again, not be so irrational and emotional when things come out, things are presented, not to be so naive and gullible and just swallow and drink everything that's told to us, because obviously you can see that they didn't mean what they said. These folks were going around saying we're going to crush the virus, crush the virus, crush the virus. You lie. Y'all lying, out here capping hard. I mean, the actual people who have the approved vaccine doesn't even believe this thing is going to go away, and we out here believing that it's going to go away. But this folks, the guy just came out and said, yo, this thing has to be annual. All right, y'all. So just wanted to present that to y'all real quick. I got to get back in, finna seeing patients. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. All right, peace.